My pleasure.
And President Trump is revising federal social programs. He signed an executive order last week affecting recipients of programs such as Medicaid. Talking Points political analyst, Gilat Melamed has the details of that policy.
The White House says it's aiming to tackle poverty in America. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order calling for work requirements for federal assistance programs. These programs include SNAP, often referred to as food stamps, and TAMP, which provides financial aid to low-income homes. The goal of this order is in its name, reducing poverty in America by promoting opportunity and economic mobility. The president says this work requirement will do exactly that by getting more people off government programs and into the workplace. Aside from a full-time job, things that will qualify as work include job training, searching for a job, and going to school. Similar steps have already been taken on the state level. A few months ago, the Trump administration allowed Kentucky, Indiana, and Arkansas to have work requirements for Medicaid. Right now, it's hard to say how many people this executive order will actually impact. A 2017 University of Michigan study found that 75% of people enrolled in Medicaid were already working or physically unable to.
Now, Gilat, thank you for joining us here at Desk. Now that the order's been issued, what is the next step for the federal government to actually implement this policy?
Right, so the different agencies like HUD, Health and Human Services, they have 90 days to review, the work requirements that they do or don't have for their programs right now. Then they have to submit that to the OMB, say this is what we're going to do to comply with that executive order. And then there's another 90 days to actually implement that. So we're going to expect to see this stuff implemented by mid-July based off that timeline.
Is there any reason as to why, though, it was an executive order and not sent through Congress as a reform bill?
Right, and it's interesting because Paul Ryan, reforming entitlement programs, that was one of the biggest things he wanted. Tax reform was the other one, which he got. But really, it would need 60 votes in the Senate to pass. It definitely would not get that. So it's really a way for the Trump White House to put forward something they've been very outspoken about, which is, reforming welfare, trying to get people off of these government programs, downsizing that, and moving them, through help through the private sector. He even spoke about community and religious-based organization help to, get people back into jobs, not the government.
And both sides of the aisle, Gilat, what's the response been like? Break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, Republicans are definitely happy, not just, with the policy itself, but also when you think about it, it's a way of, downsizing the government. It is interesting, though, that this, it is kind of under the radar. They signed this order in private. Democrats, on the other hand, they're not happy with the way the term welfare is used in it. He's taking a broad sweeping definition of welfare, they're saying. That's what the Democratic Majority Whip said. And they're saying it's kind of a racial target and it's putting welfare in a bad light.
And in terms of those next steps, in terms of implementing it, what can we expect following?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, it is already in 3 states on the state level. But like that University of Michigan study said, they say 75% of people on Medicaid, that's just for Medicaid, are already working. So it might not have physically that big of an impact on the amount of people it's going to affect, more of that political statement of this is what the Trump White House, wants to get out of these federal assistance programs.
Certainly something very interesting that we're going to keep following here. I think in terms of President Trump, certainly something that's been in the works a while now. Interesting to see how they'll be able to get this done. Gilat, thanks so much for joining us.